Hello, everybody. Welcome into Talking Fitchburg on this Monday, November 1st, 2021. I'm Jeremy Crosby with the director, the producer, the man, Andrew Bamlett, behind the scenes, working hard to make our lives just a little bit easier here on Talking Fitchburg. And I say ours, I really mean me. And welcome into November. Hard to believe it's November already. Feels like October, well, it's so warm, I guess, in October that it made it hard to believe when you're doing all of your pumpkin and apple picking and all those fun fall activities. And then, of course, Halloween last night was just so cold. It was cold. I'm just saying it was cold. We ended up having to drive around a little bit, because the kids, they didn't only last for so long. But we filled up the buckets. They filled up the buckets in 45 minutes. Andrew, and how did your kids do? They did pretty good, right? He said they filled it up too. He said the one kid collected lots of Kit Kats. Love those Kit Kats. Yeah, a lot of interesting things. I was telling them that around our parts, and we are in I'm in a small town, a very small area, but a lot of people give out full-size candy bars. I think they feel bad because of how, small. We just had a bowl, like a big bowl outside. It was almost gone by the end of the night. It was crazy, but we didn't patrol it. We just put a sign on there, be kind. I said, be kind, rewind. Be kind, take what you need. Anyways, great night. Hopefully you had a fun trick-or-treating in Fitchburg, and we're glad to start this month off here. As we do every month, we'll have, for guests today, Fitchburg Senior Center, we'll talk to David Hill. For the Senior Center, it's like picks up steam in November. It always does. We'll have a breakdown of what's coming up here at the Senior Center for the month of November. Plus, we check in with Adam Dorn at Fitchburg Fire Department as this upcoming weekend, usually it comes during Halloween, but this daylight savings is happening this weekend. Fall back. But that means one or two things for you to do with your smoke detectors, carbon monoxide. We'll have all that breakdown for you here coming up in our digest. But let's get to some of the headlines we're working through today. And we start with this: who can get a booster dose of COVID-19? Yes, that's right. The eligibility expansion has happened. And we kind of talked about this last week, and I felt like we really need to go back and make sure we break this down a little bit better, because there's a lot of questions, a lot of moving parts here as far as getting a booster. So here's what we know. On October 22nd, the Wisconsin Department of Health Services, that's DHS, announced its support of the CDC and FDA recommendations to expand eligibility for COVID-19 booster shots. Public Health of Madison and Dane County is now able to provide booster doses to certain people who received the Pfizer, Moderna, and Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccine. If you got a Moderna or Pfizer, DHS recommends a booster dose at least 6 months after receiving the second dose of the Moderna for the following groups of people. That's people 65 years or older, all residents in long-term care facility, people ages 18 or older with certain underlying medical conditions, people ages 18 and older who are at an increased risk of COVID-19 exposure and transmission because of their job or institutional settings. Occupations at increased risk for COVID-19 exposure and transmission include frontline essential workers and healthcare workers, such as first responders, education staff, food and agriculture workers, manufacturing workers, correction workers, U.S. Postal Service workers, public transit workers, and grocery store workers. If you got the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, Department of Health Services is recommending a booster dose of Johnson & Johnson vaccine after at least 2 months of the initial dose for everyone ages 18 and older. There are no other requirements to receive a Johnson & Johnson booster. So don't mix that up with Pfizer or Moderna, which takes 6 months. This one is 2 months after getting your shot, which is a 1-dose shot there. So keep that in mind. All right. I think I'm eligible for a booster. What now? Well, if you are eligible to receive any of these 3 approved booster doses, reach out to your healthcare provider or schedule an appointment at one of our 3 vaccine clinics. That's at the Public Health of Madison and Dane County website, where you can schedule those to get those booster shots. And mixing and matching. Andrew and I were talking about this last week. Boosters, this is what it says. You may receive any brand of vaccine for your booster dose. You do not have to receive the same brand that you received initially as long as you meet the requirements for a booster. So keep that in mind, that those are all available. Again, more information, we'll share the link to the story, which actually has the link to signing up to get your booster shot. If you still haven't got the vaccine, that information is also available, as we'll share the link for that story. All right, Recycling Day event is happening this upcoming weekend. Make sure you get this on the calendar. It's this I feel like we've been talking about this forever, but it's this Saturday, November 6th, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. All right, 3 things. It's easy. Confidential paper shredding or recycling, electronic recycling, and med drop. Bring those items, dispose of them appropriately so they don't end up in the landfill. And of course, you can check out the brochure online, and there is the map as you come into City Campus for that event. Veterans Day recognition is back this year at the Fitchburg Senior Center. With some slight modification, the Senior Center is excited to bring back our annual Veterans Day recognition. Please join us on Thursday, November 11th at 11 a.m. in the upper level of the Community Center Senior Center as we honor those who served and are currently serving. More details on that program coming up. If you want to reserve for a meal that's paid for by the Friends of the Fitchburg Senior Center, you need to do that by November 9th by noon, 270-4290 to make those reservations. All right, that does it for our headlines. A lot of headlines. There's a lot of information in the headlines today, and we'll get those out as said earlier. We'll take a quick break. Coming up next, we'll check in with Fitchburg Fire Department, talking about daylight savings, right? Fall back and make sure that you check those appropriate things like smoke detector, fire detectors. We'll break that down next right here on TF.